This is going to be a short video about intervals, the distance between two notes. You could think about intervals in two ways. Perhaps the first way to think about it is on the keyboard. You can also think about it in written music. There are four basic types of intervals. First, you have the repeated note, and that's simply just playing the same note over and over and over again. Next is steps, when you play one note and then go up to the very next note on the scale or the piano. Then you have your skips. That's when you play one note, skip over one note, and then play the next. And last, you have your leaps. That's when you make large jumps in the staff or the keyboard, skipping over two or more notes. Who cares about intervals? They're actually a very useful tool for creating things like calmness, excitement, or even stability in your music. Alright, let's look a little more in depth about each interval. The first one is the repeated note. If you look up at the music, you'll notice that it's just the same note, a C, over and over and over again. And that's really a repeated note, so I would simply play this C over and over and over again. And here is an example of what it should sound like. Next is our steps. For steps, you'll either, if you're on the keyboard, you're just going to simply go from one key to the next, never skipping one. If you want to go back down, you'd have to go down to the next one. You just simply always go to the next key, whether you're going up or down. If you look at the scale, the music is the same way, especially when we get up to here. You're always going up and down by one note on the staff. That's steps. Here's an example. And here are our skips. For skips, you're going to play one note, skip over the next one, and play that next note. So I would go C, play an E, do a G, a B. You're always skipping one note. Same thing if you look at the music. Here's a B, and it skips up to the D, up to the F, back down to the D, the B, the G. The interesting thing about skips is if you start on a line note, it'll always be line notes. If you started on a space note, it would always be space notes after that. Here's an example of what skips sound like. And last, here's our leaps. For leaps, you have to play one note and then you have to skip over two or more. So if I was playing a leap from a C, I would have to leap up to this F, skipping the E and the D. If I leap down, I would play a C, and then I would have to leap down to the G, skipping the B or the A. If you look at the music, it's the same way. Here's a C, I leap all the way up to a B, then I leap all the way up to a G, and here's a whole series of leaps, always starting on a G but leaping down at least two notes. Here's what a series of leaps would sound like. Alright, let's review here. Repeated notes. That's when you simply just play the same note over and over again. Steps is when you play the next note on the scale or the staff or on the piano, just simply going up to the next note or down to the next note. Skip is when you literally skip a note and play the next one. And leaps is when you jump over 2 or more notes and play that next note.